Hello everyone, I'm Mengjiao from Mengjiao University. Welcome to my presentation about ultra-processed food addiction. First of all, I'm going to talk about processed food and natural food. Let me begin by explaining what is natural food. The meaning of natural food is food that has undergone minimal processing and contains no preservatives or artificial additives, such as fresh eggs, fibrous vegetables, fruits, and nuts. Then, let's turn to processed food. Any food that has been altered from its natural state can be called processed food. Actually, the word processed is not a totally bad word. In modern society, it is almost impossible to avoid being exposed to processed food at all. When food is properly processed, the quality will be safer and the variety will be richer. For example, milk needs to go through the process of sterilization to extend its storage period and finally become milk that can be sold to people. Also, soybeans can produce a lot of soy productions like tofu and even soy sauce. These can be often found in our diet. The above are all beneficial aspects of processed food, but there is also a category of ultra-processed food. These foods are highly processed or ultra-processed. They most likely have many added ingredients, such as sugar, salt, fat, and artificial colors or preservatives. Examples of these foods are jelly, salty snacks, packaged cookies, chocolate candies, soft drinks, ice creams, frozen meals, and fast food. Here are several specific disadvantages of ultra-processed food compared with natural food. First, unbalanced nutrition. The overprocessing of ultra-processed food is often done purely to satisfy taste, with little attention to nutrition. As a result, they are mostly high in sugar, oil, salt, and few nutrition. Eating only such foods is likely to lead to malnutrition. Second, overeating. Studies have shown that people who eat mainly ultra-processed foods have increased levels of hunger hormones and decreased satiety hormones. This leads many people to overeat and gain weight. I myself have a personal experience with overeating. I can't control my intake of ultra-processed foods like snacks. For example, if I eat potato chips, as long as I eat the first bite, no matter how much is left, I will eat the rest. In just a few months, I gained 10 kilograms. When I look back my diet, I see that there is a large proportion of ultra-processed foods. So, if you want to be healthy, you have to control your intake of ultra-processed food. Third, it could cause cancer. Many ultra-processed foods are cooked at high temperatures. Deep frying produces a carcinogen called acrylamide. A French study found that a 10% increase in the proportion of ultra-processed foods increased overall cancer risk by 12%. Other studies have shown that long-term consumption of ultra-processed food may increase the risk of heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and even depression. Why do ultra-processed foods make people addictive? To our human ancestors, sweetness and umami were directly related to energy source, carbohydrate, and protein. Salt may have had an appetite-enhancing effect because small amounts of salt were necessary. Second, ultra-processed foods are designed to make people eat more heavily. This is to achieve the perfect balance of salt, fat, or sugar. In other words, ultra-processed foods are messing with our brains. In ancient times, food was made from natural ingredients without much processing.
In contrast, highly industrially processed foods are made from substances extracted from foods, such as starches and hydrogenated fats and hardened oil. Additives, such as artificial flavors and fragrance, emulsifiers that mix oil and water, and stabilizers that maintain the shape and texture of food, can make foods more appealing, but they can harm us in the long run. One of the important functions of food is to release a neurotransmitter called dopamine. When you eat, dopamine is released. Dopamine is widely believed to increase feelings of pleasure, but it is encourage us to repeat behaviors that help us survive, just like when you take addictive drug. Since ultra-processed foods are bad for health, why do they exist? Ultra-processed foods have long storage times, are easy to transport, and require little preparation. These foods seem to be good choice because it's cheap and need little time to cook. However, in today's society, it is unrealistic to recommend that people completely avoid ultra-processed foods because they don't have enough time and difficult to prepare food. The author Chris Van Tulleken of the book Ultra-Processed People suggests us some tips to eat ultra-processed food.
I'm Chris Van Tulleken, and these are 5 ways to identify ultra-processed foods. Step 1, read the ingredients. Step 2, keep on eating ultra-processed food. Step 3, don't worry too much about fat, salt, and sugar. Step 4, start to learn how the additives affect your health. Step 5, what can you do about it?
As we know, food can be divided into 4 groups. We can use Group 1 unprocessed food as main source of our diet. Use Group 2 as seasoning. When choosing foods in Group 3, we need to read the ingredient list to see if there are unhealthy additives. We can still eat ultra-processed foods when we want to eat them, but not as our main diet source. For example, eat 70% of unprocessed food, and the rest 30% we can eat anything we want. So, the thing we need to do is learning to deal with our relationship with ultra-processed foods, not avoid eating them. We can still enjoy these foods, but if we want to live longer and healthier, we should keep eating ultra-processed food in moderation and eat more natural foods. Thank you for watching.